This morning, new video shows the moment rescuers found 4 young siblings deep in the Amazon jungle.
The incredible moment 4 children were saved, the oldest just 13 years old. Altogether, they survived 40 days in the jungle, basically on their own.
These 4 siblings pulled to safety from the Colombian jungle. Against all odds, they survived alone inside.
They were flying from a remote Amazon community to a town in central Colombia when their plane crashed on May 1st. All 3 adults on board died. The kid's mother did survive, but only hung on for 4 days before telling her kids to go on without her. Now, the children, who are all members of the indigenous Witoto people, they were found almost 6 weeks later, after a long and exhaustive search by hundreds of military troops and local indigenous volunteers. Emaciated, exhausted, but miraculously alive.
We are happy now because this situation hasn't allowed us to sleep or be happy. We couldn't walk. For us, it's been like living in the dark.
They were flown immediately to the nation's capital, Bogota, where they're getting medical treatment. And it's hard to believe, isn't it? 13, 9, 4, and the youngest turned 1 while they were out there, all surviving, again, for 40 days. And let's be clear, the Colombian jungle is teeming with predators and dangers of all kinds. Jaguars, snakes, scorpions, poisonous plants, even militia groups. So how did they do it? How did 4 children survive that long in one of the world's harshest environments?
That plane crashed in one of the most wild areas of the Colombian Amazonian forest.
The Amazon rainforest we tend to think of as being largely in Brazil, but it actually stretches across 8 countries in South America. About 10% of it is in Colombia. And the Witoto people, they know the jungle.
Cultivos tradicionales que es la chagra, en donde siembran frutos, cosechan, donde comparten, ¿no?, los saberes con los abuelos, con los papás, en donde la comunidad se reúne en torno a varias tradiciones.
For them, foraging for survival, knowing exactly what plants they can eat and how to navigate the environment, that's a way of life, and one they instill in kids from a very young age.
Especial son seres que están básicamente libres dentro de la selva, ¿no? Tienen sus rutas, tienen sus áreas de aprendizaje, que finalmente dentro de las comunidades indígenas se maneja muchas enseñanzas propias, ¿no? Que es básicamente las herramientas que tienes para luego.
The kids spent weeks wandering the jungle and battling the elements. And to really understand how harsh that would have been, we asked someone else who has a lot of experience in that part of the world.
It's the kind of place where, when it comes to poisonous creatures, insects, creepy crawly things, flying things, buzzing things, biting, stinging plants, you don't just ever sit down in the Amazon jungle willy-nilly.
Yeah, Survivor Man, Les Stroud himself.
You have to look everywhere you step and sit and touch. You want to lean against a tree, you have to think about it. So there's that. Then there's, of course, jaguar and puma, the 2 big cats that are there. You know, they have often been known to stalk people, indigenous people in the Amazon jungle, so they're a definite threat.
They withstood heavy storms under makeshift shelters made from branches held together with hair ties. They hid inside of tree trunks to protect themselves in a jungle alive with venomous snakes, jaguars, and mosquitoes. They also wrapped their feet in rags to protect themselves from the rough and muddy forest floor. They ate farina, which is a type of cassava flour. They pulled it from the plane wreckage, ate that for a while, and once that ran out, they ate seeds and fruits from the jungle. You know, there's a particular tree called a milk tree that's rich in sugar, and you can actually chew its seeds like gum. They also ate fruit from a fruiting palm tree, locally known as milpesos, which tastes kind of like avocado, apparently. And they were able to do this because of the time of year. Certain fruits and plants were in season, providing you know which ones to go for. Plus,
They would have crossed potentially several little streams, and every one of those little streams has freshwater shrimp in it and even tiny fish in it. And she would have known that. It's possible that they could have caught and eaten those. But the cassava flour that they had is very likely what kept them alive.
All of this, the eldest child, Leslie, knew because she'd been taught by her grandmother, a well-respected elder in the Witoto community.
The ancestral knowledge that gets passed down in a situation like that is constant, it's daily, it's matter of fact. Oh, you can pick these and eat them. Oh, you can dig out these grubs here and they're very tasty. Oh, you can get fish in little fish in little streams. And that would be highly advantageous for their survival.
And the half-eaten food that they left behind, it gave clues to rescuers to help follow their trail. From what we know, they moved a lot, making the search actually quite difficult. Rescuers scoured more than 300 square kilometers of dense jungle. At some point, search teams actually passed within 20 to 50 meters of where the children were ultimately found, according to rescue officials. Because search teams had no way of knowing how long it would take to find those kids, they also dropped packets of food for them from helicopters scattered over a wide area, and even played a loud voice recording of their grandmother telling them to stay in one place. Ultimately, they were found by search dogs about 5 kilometers from the site of the plane crash.
3 miles through the jungle is intense. That's not a walk down a city block. The drudgery of getting through that. This is a very thick bush. All the leaves are big. Everything's wet. There's stinging, biting things hanging off every branch. That's a tough go to walk 3 miles.
But for the Witoto people, it was more than just survival know-how that kept them alive.
The truth, I want to say it in a few words. We're indigenous people. We believe a lot in the jungle, which is our mother. That is why I always had faith and said that neither the jungle nor nature has let us down.
And one more thing, judging from the outcome, the siblings didn't let each other down.
And that's really important. Had it been just the one girl, for example, the 13-year-old, on her own and alone, well, you can just quadruple the fear factor right there. So them being together, I'm sure, was a moral, emotional boost that certainly fed into their survival.
Yeah, maybe at some point down the line, we'll hear the story from the kids themselves.